All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful day. I got another watch list for you, and I got some good news and some bad news. Today actually wasn't that crazy. I know I say it is, and then even just with the volatility, surprisingly, today wasn't too wild. We had an update on the midterm, so I'm going to go over that with you, but thankfully, not thankfully, it kind of makes this week a little simpler. So we got a lot to go over, but before we do any of that, though, let me start with this to remind you, you are still in peak volatility. Again, it's November right now. We just ended October, but as we're getting a little calm here, some people are saying, well, we've actually had the most amount of 7% monthly moves since 2008. So, and then even look at the 30s. Oh, man. Okay, yeah. So that's your pretty picture for the day. But the point is, we got a little bit of calm. I look forward to explaining it, but we are waiting for the data in midterms. And surprisingly, today we started this week with a little less crazy and a little less news. So we'll take it, baby. So we got a lot to go over. I got the plays for you. I got the recap. I have a lot of things, actually. We went over a lot, and we're going to get into focus mode. So this is how today looked. You can see it. That was the gap up at open. Let me throw up the TD Ameritrade before we get into any of it, because remember, yesterday on the futures, there was that gap down. We went up by the morning. We were up, then we dropped a little bit. Then we had this weird little squeeze there, but again, it's not like we're too high or too low, especially after the Fed. So take all of that into consideration, but we have a lot. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Hopefully we see you on stream as well, and run it, baby.
Working to the couch, it's the 2020 election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Feel how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
But right off the bat, ladies and gentlemen, I rushed it. I'm really excited to get into this one, but surprisingly, it is going to be a dry week up until the CPI on Thursday. Now, why I'm saying that, this is the development that we got here with the midterms. Most people are actually expecting delays in the results. So we talked about it a little bit today. It's kind of hard to interpret, but essentially delays are bullish, and then the final response depends on where things shift. Essentially, right now it's looking very bullish if we start to see a Republican victory or a majority. So if there's a delay, it will be bullish because nothing is going to happen until then, and pretty much nobody can wait 3 days without buying. But once we get the results, whether it's Democrat or Republican, the market will move from there. But this is very important in the context of everything, because the midterms kick off tomorrow, but it's all about as we get results. And like we were saying yesterday, you want to pay attention to those specific industries. But now, with a lot of delays expected and people already kind of watering it down before things kick off, it's kind of looking like we're not expecting to get any real market moving stuff till a little bit later. So we'll watch. I'll give you guys any updates. But now, if there's nothing on the board with midterms and Wall Street's already starting to tone it down here as we begin the week, the only thing we're going to get is CPI, then the consumer sentiment on Friday. Other than that, there is no other data. So that's why I'm saying it's going to be interesting here. But what we want to be watching out for is China and any other macro moves affecting the dollar. Some people are even saying the dollar might top out here, and I think depending on what we get with the CPI, that will definitely give you evidence of that or not. But what we need to be watching for, anything that moves the dollar, because today, I'm sure some of you guys already saw it, the bonds were exactly opposite of the market. This is kind of reminiscent of 2020, but especially for the last year or so, this was kind of surprising. But the bonds have definitely been disagreeing, and I'm sure you've heard that before, but watch out for that. And even with China, even though they have been denying the rumor and saying explicitly against it, the China stocks keep opening red and then swinging green. So all that being said, if we're not getting data till Thursday, the only thing I'm thinking is going to cause market moves, it is going to be China or anything that can move the dollar. Other than that, though, people are feeling good, especially if there's no shocking results this week that will scare people, or it is going to be delayed. So that is key number one. Keep that in mind. But now to key number two, I'm sure you could already tell with the vibe, but it is more likely to be be optimistic this week due to history and seasonality, but we heard this. That's why I put it in quotes today. Someone said it. It's like you have all these positive factors, especially after the midterms, but it's like everybody still knows this isn't the bottom, and then we still have a lot more data that we're going to be needing. So it puts us in a very interesting spot. But again, historically, after this week, especially as we move through it, and if the delays make anything more bullish, then that should be bullish for the market. Even November, there's a pretty good odds, or there are pretty good odds of the market advancing. So there's a lot of things working in that favor, even the buybacks and all of that. But in a weird way, we still want the results. Again, the market is pricing various things depending on the results of the midterms. But now, too, we still have the data and then Powell just shortly after. But keep this all in mind, because depending on where the wind blows, really, we're just waiting for our next catalyst or something to confirm either the dollar's going to decline a lot or the Fed futures are going to solidify something, but those have been frozen and have not moved since. But that is your second key coming into the last one. I think this might explain what I'm expecting and a lot for this week, because even though there's optimism, but people are worried this isn't the bottom, it's creating this weird thing. I'm even holding some shorts here, but I'll show you on the chart and you'll see what I'm saying. But to make it simple, I'm expecting a lot of big swings this week, but a little change overall. So I think we might go up a lot, go down a lot. We might get surprised here and there, again, depending on the news or lack thereof news. And mixed in with the midterms, I think we might do a lot of movement to borderline end up in the same place. That's why I'm not too tripping out on any of the plays that I'm holding. But this is what I'm going to show you on the chart. A good CPI, it can cause one of those most hated rally setups. And we talked about it today. The used car prices have been declining. That has been a very big leading indicator of inflation. And with that starting to drop a lot, some people are feeling good. Again, the expectation right now for the CPI on Thursday, it is coming in at 7.9%. So, I mean, depending on how you look at it, that's good. 7.9. I know, but taking you to the chart, I think you'll see it more. And I hate to do this again, because, again, it doesn't always work out like this. It's just the market has been very weird lately with all the volatility, but it's playing out kind of like a period, and it doesn't have to really play out like this, but just don't forget this right here, that was the most hated rally. But where I think we are at right here is like literally right here on where my cursor is. So pretty much, I think if things are good, we might have a little bit of upside depending on where we end this week. The data, we might make another big move, and you're either going to come right back to where we were at previously, maybe a little bit lower, and then I think this will be the CPI. So the days don't match up perfectly, but this is where I'm saying is like I think we are still in one of these spots where we can move around a lot, but kind of end up, give or take, around this level. And then if something is good through the midterms or CPI, we might have one of those things go off the bottom, something confirms it, and then boom, that will be it. And then that's like, yeah, okay, we need to close any of the shorts or anything of that nature. But hopefully you can see what I'm saying. But I think it's going to be very simple. We don't have much to watch for this week, which is, again, good and bad considering the craziness. But hopefully now these next couple of days leading into the midterms and CPI, if it will be calmer, hopefully it might be easier to find a snitch. So we will see what happens. But let us get into the plays. So, right off the bat, ladies and gentlemen, I have 3 plays as always, and the first one is going to be Disney. I added 100 shares today. I don't know which price I got it in at, but if you remember, we were trading Disney a couple of times over the last few weeks, and I pretty much got it at a lower price than where I sold it at. So, I think it was at $129 per share, and we got 100 of them, but I'm barely up on it. But why I'm liking it is simple. They have earnings tomorrow. They're back to that $100 level. I usually do not like to buy into a earnings if it's like kind of selling off pre-earnings. I usually like the pre-earnings run up, but you'll see what I'm saying here. Again, I sold them out at like 105. We bought them at 100 last time. They came up here, but the last couple of days now, obviously, it's because the events and all of that, but they're not really having a pre-earnings run up. So that's usually what I don't like. So that's the thing that I'm worried about with that play, but still going to ride it out. I plan on down, sell in before the earnings. I may want to ride in the earnings, but that has not been kind to me with shares so far. So maybe I will calm down and we'll see. But that is going to be play number 1. Then coming into play number 2 now, TWLO. This one was an interesting one. They had a buyout rumor today. It was following their bad earnings. Remember on Friday, they had really, really bad earnings and they dumped. They're even at like a very low, multi-year low. And they were even at like 400 at one point. But really, the buyout rumor is going to help. I don't know if I really believe it. I just like the momentum. They sold off huge on earnings, and the way I'm looking at it, I have some of these shorts. I'm just thinking, hey, if we do get midterm rally, or if again CPI or anything confirms it, I want the biggest growth I could get. That's why I've been saying even like either the leaders that have been killing it a lot, or even the names like Meta and all of that. But TWLO, I think it meets this, and just if things do go good, I think there's a lot of meat on this one. So I did go with 100 shares when we got the rumor in the morning, and again, I started opening up some of those shorts, so I figured I could balance it out, but grabbed 100 shares at 44.47. I'm up about $1 per share right now, but plan on riding that out over the next couple of days. But that is play number 2, and then finally play number 3, baby, Pfizer. They're just at a very big level. 1, they already had earnings. You'll even see we brought this up. Remember, I day traded it after the earnings. I even got shook out. It was only like a $20 loss, and that's something to keep in mind with Pfizer. It doesn't even move a lot. So even if you are going to be playing the shares, like 50 shares, 100 shares, 47.13 to like, it has to go all the way up here to be down like $100, or again, you're gonna have to go down to like 46.17. Pretty much Pfizer doesn't move a lot, so it's kind of good with shares, but depending on if you're trying to day trade it or scalp it, that may not be the best. But I like the level that they are at right here, and they just had earnings, and you see it hasn't really moved much, but this is the whole point with it. I want a healthcare play for the midterms, but either way, Pfizer is just one of these companies, no matter what happens in like some way, shape, or form following the midterms, they're probably going to move, and now they still haven't really moved up or down too much after earnings. So I think that's going to be the key. But now, like we're saying, the midterms, the delays, and all of that, that may very well be the problem, and then we will have to factor all of that in. So we will see what happens. But those are the main plays. As far as everything else now, actually, let me take you to the hold-ins. I made it a little simpler here. Again, I'm learning how to use all this. You can't see the first one, but I started, these aren't the hold-ins, these are even the trades we made today, but I started off the morning with 200 more shares of MSOS at 10.95. My average is still like $11 and some change, so I'm down on that play, but I now have 500 shares. This is the wheat ETF, and again, this is another one of those midterm plays here, so got that. There's the Disney purchase right there. Then I went short on an ES future that I'm still holding right now. I believe I'm even down like, I think 1,000 or 1,300, 1,400 now. Futures are open. Did they open up? I think they did. Yes, they did, but I am very zoomed in on there, but we'll go back to that. But I'm still holding that one. It's down about $1,400, but throughout the day, as I was holding this short, it wasn't fluctuating a lot, so I started doing what I did on Friday as well. I bought one of the NQs, and I went long on the NASDAQ while being short, so all these little like pops and drops we've been getting, I just kept flipping them. So I did 10 points on the NQ there. Then I bought my 100 shares of TWLO. I'm still in that short on the ES. The NQ came back down. I was getting positive on the short again. I bought the NQ again, 10.08, 892. Sold out another like 20 points right there. Made a couple more $100, and then I closed out my bond trade. I still like this volatility. We brought this one up yesterday, and really I was up on it almost the amount since post-Powell. I think the most I was up on it was 1,000, but I'm thinking, hey, if there is going to be optimism this week, it sucks the bonds were disagreeing later in the day, but pretty much I think I could reopen this with a little bit better of a price, take some money, and go from there. But hopefully it doesn't run without that, but I'm going to plan to reopen that, but took some profits on that. Did another NASDAQ 10.866 to 10.877, couple $100 there, and I literally by this moment I realized like $1,000 on the NASDAQ, and then I was only down like $100 on the ES. I could have even taken profit on both at one point, but I held it. I decided to go with it again. I think a lot of movement, and then I even got a greedy NASDAQ here that I'm still holding, and then now that one's still open. And again, with my whole theory, I think we're going to get a lot of movement to really not do much. So any play that gets away from me, I think I'm going to be able to balance it out. I'm down 400 on this now, and I just plan on buying a lot of stock. So if I'm holding these, and depending how things are, I'm just going to load up, and you guys see it, the TWLO, the Apple, the Meta, and a couple of others, even the Netflix. That's what I've been doing here. So as far as the hold-ins now, I had to bring up the other screen here. And again, things are moving active, but there's the ES working against me. These options kind of dead. Again, I have till the end of November, so still, again, a decent amount of time here, but these are not moving as much since that little drop there. But that was the play I opened up today. MYM still working me a little bit. Again, the Dow has been that outperformer. Then the NQ, that's that last greedy short I still hold. So again, two big shorts going against it, but I think we'll be able to do stuff. And like I'm saying, I just plan to buy a lot of stock. If anything, Apple, I'm still down $2 on it, but that bounced even after today. Meta, and remember, I was down $1,000 on it coming into this, but remember, we made that big average down, but that went positive after they did good on that buyout news. Then the Netflix, this one's still working me a little bit, but that's some of the upside. Then I opened more Tesla shares, 25 today at 199. I thought it'd be good. I'm pretty much thinking they'll bounce off the lows and kind of swing around, but otherwise, I still think Tesla could move a lot. And then there's the TWLO, and then I think there's a couple of others still on here. I know the Qualcomm, that one's killing me again. Those are the two option plays, absolutely wrecking me. So I lost all of the ACAM option profits I made from just a couple weeks ago, but now the Qualcomm shares still holding those short, and I plan to. I may even add to that one, but again, still riding to it. I'm a little bit weighted bigger now with all of these, but I think this week and until we get the data, I think we'll be able to move a lot. I'm not really too worried. I think I'm going to use this as a calm week, and hopefully we get some good equity buys here. So we'll see what happens, but Chatadonia, I'm kind of grateful. It might be very, very calm. We will see what happens, but I hope you're locked in, loaded, and it's going to be an exciting one, but that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to remember, baby, without respect, the positivity don't mean anything. You got to respect the markets. You got to respect the work ethic. If you show respect, the world will give it back to you, and you are going to watch. Trust me, ain't nobody ever made a problem from respecting. They're like, oh, man, I showed so much respect, it led to a problem. No, anytime I get clapped on a trade, it's because I don't have the respect for it, baby. So let's go. It's game time. Chatadonia, I love you. I was trying to get like hyped on it. I was trying to like go here. I forgot. Y'all can't see me. I feel like I'm like reaching out to the screen right now. You know that? I'm hitting it. I'm like, yo, bro, like you see me. I'm there. Let's go, baby. It's game time. But get ready, Chad. I love you. Drink that water. Stay hydrated. Stay healthy, and you're blessed, baby. You know that. Walk like it. Move like it, baby. Hey, Hearn.